In the fabled land of Northern California, nestled in the Valley of Sacramento, two friends begin a journey to enlighten the world about their experience living life as a Xennial. But what is a Xennial, you may ask? If you wish to know, then follow them on their adventures.
Welcome to the Xennial Chronicles. This is James.
This is Mike.
We're coming to you today with a very interesting message. At least I have an interesting message. I think Mike will agree with the message, though. He'll buy into the message. There's some connection to actually an event that happened to a friend of his, a friend and associate of his, within the last week or so, that I think is pertinent to the conversation that I'm having.
Okay.
Of course, we're all still existing in the COVID-19 world, where varying degrees of throughout the entire country, varying degrees of lockdown and reopening things and trying to reestablish what was the norm. Which, I mean, got to keep in mind that some people weren't happy with what the norm was. They would like to see the norm changed, but still, we're trying to get back to some semblance of a world that we understand and don't feel as much anxiety about. And so this pertinent thing, I was having a conversation, Mike, you and me, right before we started this.
Yeah.
It came to my mind that this is a good thing to talk about. And I think it's relevant in the sense that many people from our generation have had this kind of experience as a result of kind of the way the world has worked, the way the economy has worked, the way that schooling has worked. I think we've touched on before. It's been a long time, but I think we've touched on before the fact that back when we were in school, even starting as early as elementary school, we started being very heavily force-fed the idea that the only way you were ever going to be successful in life was to go to college and get a college education and a degree. Right?
Oh,
you remember that?
Yes.
That was kind of force-fed down us pretty heavily, that there was no way you were going to ever be successful outside of that.
Well, not just college, but like as far as any vocational school or college, that was a big thing. But I remember the huge concentration when I was in high school was computer-based anything. Computers, wave of the future, man. Getting no microprocessing or learning how to type or like any computer-based stuff, which is true.
No, that's actually more intelligent to have a focus like that. And even I had a few instructors throughout school that would kind of argue the merits of vocational school over just the university track. And I had very interesting examples in my life in the sense that I had one brother who went the route of at first just working in a field and becoming proficient in the field, and then eventually he went back to school to gain knowledge within that field. Some of it was kind of vocational, some of it was actual university type work. He had to do some pretty advanced math classes to finally get to where he was, and in fact started teaching advanced math classes to people because he was able to learn so much in it.
That's great.
He kind of took that route of doing the work first and working really hard in one kind of not too specific, but roughly specific. It was a construction-based type work, and he's been through various different construction things. I mean, you give the man a pile of wood, a pile of metal, and the appropriate tools, and he can build you just about anything that you want. And moreover, he can make it look absolutely stunningly beautiful.
That's fantastic.
On top of the fact that he knows his way around working on cars, anything that has to do with building things and using his hands and tools and crafting like that, whether it's pre-made stuff that you put together and make it work properly, or whether he has to bring it from his own brain and create everything himself, he's absolutely fantastic at doing that. It's just kind of the niche where he fits.
That's great.
And then I had another brother who spent a little bit of time in the military and used his GI Bill while in the military to, interestingly enough, get a degree in something to do with computers. And I say something to do with computers because he has explained it to me before.
Uh-huh.
And that's like me trying to teach you stage directions in, 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, or better, stage directions are easy. It's like me trying to teach you Shakespeare in 5 minutes.
Okay. That would make more sense.
yeah, to understand iambic pentameter and what what the phrase um, "Wherefore art thou, Romeo" means. That one I maybe can do in 5 minutes, but that's like a key phrase to understanding Shakespeare. Maybe one day we'll go through that. Um, but he's told me, like I say, he's told me before. I don't completely understand it, but he's been able to make a pretty good career for himself doing the computer things that he does based on that degree. So I've seen kind of multiple ways about going about getting out there into the world, getting some kind of education and putting it to being able to put it to good use, and then at the same time, somebody who worked in a field and was able to, by working in that field, eventually get the education, but establish themselves in the field. And then the education was the bonus on top of their actual ability that they learned from doing the job in the first place.
Yeah.
But when our generation came around, because these brothers of mine, they would be Gen Xers by their age.
Mm-hmm.
And when our generation came around, it became something where instead of college being something that was for a fortunate few or a real career path, it became something that you just did.
Yeah.
Everybody went to college.
Yeah, they pushed that a lot. A ton.
Yeah, as a result, we ended up with a flood in the market of people with bachelor's degrees and some with master's degrees, and you'd end up with 30,000 jobs available for this type of bachelor degree and 100,000 applicants. Because everybody went and got these degrees instead of the numbers kind of skyrocketed and not in the way of being productive.
Right.
And you ended up finding these people that had spent all this time in school, had these student loans, had all these things going on with their education, not really being able to find jobs in the field and at the wage that they were looking for. And so in many ways, our generation ended up becoming the customer service generation. And you saw some of that in the Gen Xers that didn't go to school or didn't find themselves in the right type of industry that they could work.
Mm-hmm.
An industry like construction, it's basically based on what skills you can acquire and how good you are at doing those skills. And if you just want to be just a normal worker guy that goes to your job site and does your job, great. But if you want to succeed in that, it's really about hard work and perseverance and, busting your ass and getting things done. And acquiring the new skills that make you more marketable. In the customer service, you kind of just this is the phrase I've always tried to use to describe it. You're basically just a trained monkey that does the little act that you're supposed to do, and if you don't do it right, they just bring in another trained monkey.
Yeah, essentially I guess I don't know if it's necessarily that crude, but
there are some customer service situations where it does require a certain amount of knowledge and it does require a certain amount of expertise. But a vast majority of them, really, they teach you kind of the thing on the job, and yeah, you may end up having people at each individual location that are better at the job than other people. But for the most part, it's kind of a running carousel of, you do the thing. If you're not able to do the thing or you don't want to be able to do the thing, they'll get somebody else to do the thing.
Well, yeah, I would say that. But for the most part, customer service was the job that was essentially left over after all the markets were flooded. And
yep.
For the most part, it's an entry-level position, You want to take a look into those other positions that don't necessarily require a college education in order to get started at construction, coal mining, assembly line work.
Interestingly, coal mining is a funny little myth because there's a significantly small number of coal miners left in the United States.
Oh, there are, but it used to be a huge
It's actually such
industry.
a small number.
Right. Well, but it used to be a huge industry back in the day. That's what I'm kind of getting at, is this generation's customer service is essentially this generation's common entry-level job. That's what it is.
Yeah, we're the commoners.
Yeah.
We're the commoners.
It's the standard, yeah.
And see, the thing I want to talk about when it comes to this, we're talking about customer service because, again, this is something that's big for you and me. That's basically the majority of jobs that we've had.
Yeah.
And it's where we met was in a customer service situation. And what I find interesting is I find interesting people's response to customer service, individuals, in all different aspects of it. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. Maybe educate people today a little bit about customer service. Now, I'm sure that most people listening have held customer service jobs at different points in time, because I don't necessarily think we appeal to a middle class or upper middle class audience. If we do, awesome.
I mean, that's good. Hey, maybe we can bring something to light here.
Yeah, but what I want to talk about is, again, the idea of, because customer service is, as you were describing, kind of the common man's job or the common person's job. Take the man part out of it, so we're not being sexist here.
Right.
It's the common person's job. It's kind of the default where you can get a job, especially if you're not somebody who has the physical ability to do the labor that's required for some of the heavier jobs that don't require massive amounts of college and degrees and all of that stuff.
Right.
Like for instance, there was a time that I actually started going to school to be an electrician's apprentice. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. It was oh gosh, it was actually not too long. It was right after, I think, we found out we were pregnant with our first kid.
Oh, wow.
I was trying to figure out I was working at Home Depot at the time, and we were trying to find something that was going to be more of a career than, because that's the thing, is most people going into customer service things, you don't necessarily always view those as careers. They're jobs.
You know what? I think that has to do with the stigma of the position in itself, and how that has to do with the treatment.
And we'll get into that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, I got a bit to say about this. This is great.
Yeah, my mind was firmly in, this is a job. I'm looking for a career, and becoming an electrician, that seemed like a career to me. Anything at all where you get licensed or certified in any way, shape, or form, those pieces of paper that you get for that are gold when it comes to getting jobs. Because many jobs, the biggest hurdle that you have to overcome is having whatever paperwork they require. Even in customer service jobs, there are many of them that require or try to demand that you have at least a high school diploma before they want to hire you for many of them.
Yeah.
I know I had to bring in my high school diploma when I started working at Blockbuster to show them that I had a high school diploma.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but there are, like I said, when you have those certifications, when you have those licenses, when you have those pieces of paper, those things will give you the ability to open doors into various positions. And the like in many things, the language that is used is very specific. A certificate is one level of doors opening. A license is an entirely different level of doors opening.
Right.
A certificate is given to you by some type of organization or group. A license is given to you by a government.
Right.
Body of some sort, either federal government, state government, whatever. License has to be issued through one of those.
Right.
And so, if you think about it, some kind of group or body that gives you one piece of paper that has some weight and heft to it, but the government giving you a piece of paper saying that you are set to do this, you've passed all tests, you've met all goals that you need to, you're able to go do this thing, that's a whole nother level of stuff that, again, that's your golden ticket into a job. That's your way to be able to make money at that thing.
Absolutely.
And in fact, there are licensed jobs that are devalued just as much as customer services. Like I said, we'll get into that. But I had entered a program to be an electrician's apprentice, and it was I forget, it was a couple year apprenticeship program, and then I would actually be an electrician. And a company that was an electrician's company that did electrical work for anything. They just contracted out electrical work for all kinds of things. What they would do with this program is they would hire you and put you through the school.
Oh, okay.
You'd work for them the entire time you were at the school.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then you'd have so much time after you got done with the school, after you were certified, that you worked for them as part of kind of the repayment of them making the investment into you, sending you to school.
Right.
And so I took the test. I got hired into this place. I worked there for 5 days.
Days?
Days.
Really?
So the first 2 days I was working on a government building that was a government contract. And I was up in the building, up like second, third floor on a building that was literally no walls, just framing and floors. So at that point in my life, I wasn't too keen on heights. So being up on the second story was not necessarily a happy situation for me. And all I was doing was bending conduit. Now, anybody who's an electrician or in construction knows what I'm talking about. Do you understand what I'm saying by bending conduit?
Bending conduit, no.
Yeah. Basically, it's, the pipes that the wires go through.
Yeah.
They come out, when you get them, they come straight. And you have to bend, there's actually a tool that you feed the pipe into, and you bend it to whatever angle it needs to be. It needs to be at a 90-degree angle, 60-degree angle. It's got like a quarter moon piece on it, circle piece on it that has measurements on it, and you put the pipe in and bend it to where you need to, and then you secure it with clips to the structural stuff.
Yeah.
And so I spent 2 days doing that, and I'm like, I can do this. This is fun. It's figuring this out, cutting the pipe, figured out a cool way to cut pipe without having something to hold the pipe.
Right.
Because if you're up on the second floor of a building and you got your hacksaw with you to cut this pipe, right?
Right.
And you got a 6 foot length of pipe that you need to cut down to 4 foot. How are you going to cut that?
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
You ain't got a
not with that.
Not
with hacksaw. Yeah, you got to be able to place it or hold it.
Well, I learned a way to do that, which is kind of neat.
Okay. You're gonna have to teach us.
It involves having the pipe in your legs and using the back of your knee as kind of a brace against the front of your other knee. So you brace it that way and then hold it and cut it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
okay.
It's uncomfortable as hell the first couple times, but once you start doing it, it's like, all right, I can do this. So the next 3 days, the next 3 days, I was out on a site that was a dirt lot, and we were digging trenches for where the big, huge PVC pipes would go to carry all of the wires from the entire building. This was a lot where a bank was going in.
Okay.
And we had to be able to look at the plans of the lot, figure out where these pipes needed to come up based on the plans of the lot by measuring, and then dig these trenches to make the space for the pipes. Well, it was like June in Sacramento. And I spent 3 days, 8-hour days, digging trenches.
Right.
By the end of the third day digging trenches, and it was the first 2 days were a Thursday and Friday, and then this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the next week.
Mm-hmm.
By the following Thursday morning, I woke up to drive to Sacramento to do another day of digging trenches in the 105-degree temperatures.
Right.
And I passed out behind the wheel of the car, almost got in an accident.
Oh, my goodness.
I was maybe a mile 2 from home. I'd literally just gotten on the freeway.
Oh, my gosh.
So I headed back home. My wife took me into the hospital to find out what was going on because I was shaky. I couldn't really see very well. Was feeling faint. Severely dehydrated. They had to pump me with about 4 bags of fluid, and I spent the next 2 days downing Gatorades until I felt like I could just stand without feeling like I was going to topple over.
Holy smokes, dude!
I ended up having to leave. I ended up deciding to leave the program because I didn't know whether my body would be able to handle going back out there and digging ditches.
Yeah.
And I knew that was going to be a big part of it. Now, admittedly, that means that as far as physicality goes, and I'll admit to it wholeheartedly, I'm a little chicken wuss. I don't deal well with doing a lot of physical labor. Even back then when I was like half the weight that I am now, I never liked doing a lot of physical labor.
I get it.
I'm lazy. So, that was me attempting to try to do that kind of work, and I just don't think my body's cut out for it. I'm just not one of those people.
I can understand that.
And it's not a bad thing to understand that. And in fact, my one brother who was in construction had a discussion with me at one point about the jobs that I did work. I after that electrician's thing, I had quit my job at Home Depot, and then I actually went back to Home Depot and begged them to get a job back. And they were able to fit me back in there because I had been a decent employee, and I had some good connections with a few people there, so they were able to get me another job there. It was in a different department of the store, but at least it was still in the store. but I got to at least keep that job for a while and get more experience there and get more, basically have something that brought in some money at least. But my brother had a discussion with me about it, and this kind of is the illustration to me of the difference between the people that go into a kind of heavy labor, physical type of work, and the people that go into some of the things that customer service requires of you. And I think I was working at Home Depot at the time, and I mentioned something to him about, have you ever got too tired of doing all that physical stuff? He could come work at Home Depot. He's got enough knowledge of how to build things. He could work in just about any department. And his response was, hell no. I'd never work there. And I'm like, why? I mean, it's easy work in comparison to what you're doing. He goes, well, I don't want to have to talk to people like that, man. I don't understand how you do that.
It does come with the skills, man. It comes with the skills.
I don't understand how our dad was a grocery clerk for 20 some odd years. And he was a good enough grocery clerk. Now, this is back in the day where for most of his work, he had to input by hand the amounts of things. And then eventually they got the scanners.
Oh, man.
Yes,
could you imagine that, like, that technological jump when scanners, like, came into play?
We'll have to. Well, maybe we'll get him on here at one point and have him talk about that.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That was.
Yeah.
But yes, kids. Just so you know, there was a time when you could not, when the person at the grocery store didn't have a scanner to scan your stuff. They had to input things manually. So if there was a price sticker on the front, they input the price manually.
Hell, there was a time where you had to talk to somebody in order to get your food scanned and get out of the store now. Hell, you don't even have to talk to somebody to get a burger in some places.
Which is, I mean, good, I guess. You always want to get those burgers as quick as possible. I don't
know. I'm weird about it. I'm super weird about it.
I actually still like to talk to people most of the time.
Yeah,
in one. Yeah. There's one store I don't like to talk to people. There's one store I almost always use the self-checkout.
Oh, really?
And that's because I am so much faster than the person behind the counter. And this goes into something I'm going to talk about later. This goes into part of this discussion. But anyway, my brother said he never wanted to have to deal with the customer service side of things because of having to talk with people and deal with people. He said, I don't have the ability to put up with people like that. I couldn't do it. It just would drive me nuts. And it got me thinking, it takes a special kind of person to be able to work in customer service and be okay. It takes a special kind of person to be able to work in a job that requires a lot of labor, that requires creativity with your hands, the ability to make things and get things to work like that. Both of those require their own capabilities. And again, that's where we can come back to the idea that customer service jobs are kind of looked down on as basic, simple, entry level, not requiring any skills.
Well, they don't require essentially technically any major skills, or at least they're not measured to require skills from the start. Like, it's something that you can learn while you're working for the most part. However,
yes,
the skills you do learn while you're on the job are extremely vital, I personally think. And I'm not just talking learning how to talk to people, man. You learn sales tactics, you learn communication.
Oh, yes. And that becomes part of the key is
psychology is part of it, man.
Oh, yes, very much so. And that's part of the key is it even though it's viewed as a job, as a kind of entire field of unskilled people that are like I said earlier, are just in these trained monkeys. It, in fact, does require, to keep those jobs and to be good at those jobs, it requires a level of ability. It requires, again, the learning what you're doing. Because same thing with construction. When you walk on to do a job construction, when you're first starting out, you may not know a lot, but your dedication into it, your acquiring of new skills and your practicing of those skills make you better at it. Now, the difference is, in some of the other fields, the acquiring the new skills, the practicing, the getting better at them, they get you dividends. They can get you more money per hour. They can get you better jobs, better situations. That's where the downside comes in customer service, is they don't necessarily get you anything more. They possibly can, but the likelihood is a lot less in the customer service field to kind of have that increase in stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's the unfortunate downside to that. I think it's just because there's not really a lot that you can measure as far as customer service is concerned.
No, if you work in a place that's sales driven and they keep track of your sales numbers, that can be one metric that they attempt to use
right
as a way to try to show. But sometimes, as I know you've learned, sometimes making sure that the customer gets the thing that they truly need, the thing that's going to make them happy,
right,
the thing that's going to do what they want it to do. Sometimes that means getting them a lower cost item than what would look good on your sales goals.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate. I don't know exactly what the term would be. It wouldn't necessarily be a paradox. It's just, that is something that I battle with on a regular basis in a sales based job. That's right now I'm not doing it, but
it's the job that you were doing for a while.
The job that I was doing for a while, years. I've been working in customer service based jobs to help keep the bills paid for 20 years now. And it's been very
I want you to hold on and think about that for a second, Mike. Yeah. Over half of your life you've done that.
I know. I
Isn't
understand.
That scary?
Believe me, I have had that. I have made that assessment about myself for both the positive and the negative, or from both the positive and negative mindset, multiple times.
I see that,
and it can be challenging at times to want to continue to do it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Why do you think I'm out of the game?
And I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. My main thing is that I personally feel like I've that's the thing I know how to do, so I know I can get a job doing it.
No, I agree with you. I mean, those are the jobs that I've always had for the longest time. That's the reason why I am in school right now, is to get the ability to not necessarily have to do that style of job again because of what can happen working in those situations.
Yes. Yeah.
But no, going into kind of my point further, trying to get closer to my point. These are things that I think many people from our generations have had to go through. Many of us have had to have these jobs either temporarily or long term. They're the thing that pays the bills, and it ranges from working at fast food places to department stores, grocery stores, banks even fall under this category of still customer service work of some type or other. And a lot of them are companies that are huge, worldwide, global companies that have, thousands upon thousands of employees, and you're just one of many. I mean, think about it. We worked for the biggest video rental chain in existence ever.
Yeah.
I worked for what was at the time the biggest home improvement store in the world. Now I'm not sure if they're ahead or Lowe's is ahead, but at the time I worked for them, they were the biggest in the entire world. And so when you get into those companies that are the industry leaders, the top of the other thing, heck, I worked for a summer at McDonald's. So there's another one where I worked at the biggest in the entire world at their type of business.
That reminds me of a couple of things, or that reminds me of something that I actually found kind of funny. So part of what I was doing at one point a couple of years back was I was trying to break myself away from the position that I was in one of the retail jobs I was working in. And I went and I looked through...
Was it when you were working for the Devil's First Lieutenant?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. This is different. This was actually more recent. So I was having trouble in this situation. I was having trouble working with I had some issues with my pay, to be completely honest. I'd been there for years. And My pay was still essentially pretty much minimum wage, if not just above that. And the skills that I had acquired and my usefulness there and how reliable I was and all of these things apparently never seemed to be factors, so I got a little bitter. They never seemed to be factors in what they determined my worth to be. I had asked to move vertically, and that didn't happen. Then I asked to move laterally to another position with the same pay, just so that I didn't have more of the same that I was dealing with. And the management had dropped the ball. So I was upset. I was pretty upset. So I moved on to another place for a few months, and I immediately got like paid more. But for literally moving to another place that was next door to it, which is hilarious. But I remember during the interview,
and I'm personal opinion, I know which two places that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Both are retail establishments that have things I would like to buy.
Yeah.
But the one that paid you more, it had stuff that A, I could afford, and B, I want a lot more than the stuff that was in the other place.
We're going to keep that secret between us. I like that.
I'm just saying they had a lot of stuff that I would like to have.
I agree.
See, I mean, yeah, they had some very good stuff. That would have been a hard time going into work. I mean, that's why when I did work at a food place, it was McDonald's, because their food's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like the food that you kind of default to when there's nowhere else that you want to go. It's like, well, I'll eat McDonald's. I mean, their fries are bomb, but it's like everything else is like, well, I'll eat McDonald's if that's where you want to go. It's like Nobody can decide. You want to go to Jack in the Box. Okay. You want to go to Burger King. All right. You want to go to Taco Bell. You want to go to Jim Boy's. Okay. You're an idiot.
Hey, I like Jim Boy's.
So I do too, but it's not necessarily easy to eat if you're like, driving around in the car or something
No. You take it home or you eat there. Like, you don't eat in the car.
Yeah, it's not one of those that you can like go and like on a road trip, grab some food and eat it in the car on the way or something like that. It's not a quick bite type thing. It's more of a meal.
Yeah, totally.
So nobody can, you have all these people disagreeing about where to go. It's, I want to go to Carl's Jr. You know what? How about McDonald's? Well, everybody eat McDonald's. Yeah,
everybody will find something to eat at McDonald's. Yeah, absolutely.
We can all eat there. If I'd gone to work at a place that like served, if I went to any place that made donuts, period. Yeah. Like, I couldn't work there, man. Or if I did work there, I'm telling you right now, I'm pretty hefty guy right now, but dude, I would be like beyond morbidly obese. I had to use that phrase, sorry. Beyond that, if I worked at a donut place. Well beyond that.
That's great.
So, yeah, donuts would be definitely one of my downfalls.
But
anyway.
But anyways,
so you're making more money.
Yeah, so I was going over there, and I remember the interview process was hilarious because they started asking me, well, what's your work history? And so I explained it to them. I told them what it was. And I worked for, let's see, the amount of retailers I worked for, I had told them that I had worked at Blockbuster, and I worked at a small music shop, 2 small music shops, both of them shut down. I actually have worked for Fry's Electronics, and that was starting to go out of business. They were seeing that happen already. And this was like a year and a half ago. And as I'm going down the list and realizing, I was like, all of these businesses are dying or dead. Like, I think the only one that I haven't mentioned is like Toys R Us that I've never worked at. And so the store manager who's interviewing me looks at me and he goes, so have you done anything other than being the Grim Reaper for retail?
You worked at Starbucks. I mean, they're still alive.
They're still alive. But one of the stores I worked at shut down.
Dear God, man.
I know. I was like, I can't get away from it. Like, I'm looking at all these, I was looking through all these places. I was like, wow, I literally, like, my work history, you can't call anybody to prove my work history. They're not working for the company, or the company doesn't exist anymore. Like, all of them except for like one, which is hilarious. It's like my experiences really don't exist.
See, I thought it was funny for me that in this small metropolitan area that I live in, I was a part of opening 2 brand new businesses, which was at the time that they hadn't had any new businesses open in the area in like a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, a small area up here north of Sacramento, small area. So I was there when the Blockbuster opened, when that Blockbuster opened.
Oh man!
And I was part of the opening crew. I was putting the racks together in that building before any customers were in there.
Wow.
Yeah, I was the 12th person hired to work there.
Man.
And then at Home Depot, I was within the top 20 people that were hired there. So I was in the Home Depot before there were any other racks up. I was putting racks up. I was putting the stuff on the shelves. I mean, I was there a month before the store opened, putting everything together. So like, but 2 businesses here in this area, I helped build and open. And so I always thought that was kind of neat that I got to be a part of opening things. No, sir. You take the crown. You killed businesses.
I was going to say, we are polar opposites, man. Like you
especially because I'm the dark one and you're the light, happy one, but you're the one who kills everything.
Yep. You're the one who brings them up and I'm the one who tears them down, my friend.
That's just, I think we have our roles crossed. I really do.
Oh man. We're going to have to figure out how to fix that.
I guess, yeah. Well, see, hold on now. What if we work together?
Yes.
You destroy, I can create.
I like this idea.
This is good.
Yeah.
We'll have to work with this.
Yeah.
I mean, the Blockbuster did well when we both worked there together.
True.
And, I mean, that place ended up closing too, but I left and you were still there.
Oh, see? I think that was the problem. That might have been the problem, man.
I mean, it was actually no, because I went back after you left that one. I worked there again, so.
Oh, but see, it's the combination. It's the combination that does it. I
guess. But anyway, so the people at the second place, the place with all the cool stuff to buy.
Yeah.
So that they were just fascinated by your work history. That's funny.
They were. They loved it.
So is that why you got more money?
I don't know. Maybe.
Or is it because
Look, pal.
we're gonna pay him so much and keep him happy
that's
so
what
that
I'm saying,
our place
yeah.
doesn't close. Although I'm telling you right now, I'm again keeping what the place is and what the place sells secret. I guarantee you, they are in no danger of closing.
Oh yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're not hurting.
Now.
They're not hurting. I still
Not at
shop
all.
there. I love it.
Not at all. In this day and age with this situation, they're not hurting at all. They're making money hand over fist.
We should see if we should hit them up for an endorsement.
I mean, that's a place to hit up for endorsement,
right?
Hey, we will use your products while we are having our podcast if we can mention you.
All right, this is when. All right, now we have to figure out the camera technology. I know I've been working on that, but we got to get that done so now we can actually have like a visual. You know.
I mean, that's good and that's bad. Because I mean, yeah. I can see people are going to be, the people that know you will be like, okay, I think I know what place we're talking about. That you work. And everybody else can be like, where the hell did he work? I hope it's a sex shop. I really hope it's a sex shop. You dirty people.
That's not it.
It'd be fun if it was, but that's not it. But then you eventually went back to the other place, though.
I did eventually go back. Yeah, I was offered more money. And
that's good.
Since then it's been all right, man. Things have been good.
That's the place you were still at before you stopped working because you weren't allowed to anymore because doors were closed.
Yeah, everybody shut down.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we're at a point where we need to take a break.
I think
when we come back from the break, I want to give you some of the lessons that I've learned being in customer service and how I apply those to my life now that I'm no longer in customer service, and kind of a plea to people to listen to me, because it will make your customer service experiences so much better.
I like this. I like this idea.
I think it'll make the whole world better. So we'll take a break and we'll be back in just a minute.
Hey friends, this is Mike from the Xennial Chronicles reminding you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Xencron, spelled Xencchron, to keep up to date on all things TXC. And please check out our official website, theXennialChronicles.com, or if that's too much to type, Zencron.com. Thanks again for listening, and now, back to the show.
And we are back.
Hey.
So, we're still talking about customer service, obviously. And here's the thing. Like I said, I wanted to try to enlighten everybody what my experience in customer service taught me. I'm thinking Mike will agree with me on this because, again, we both spent a large amount of time, him even more time than me, working in customer service. And, we've dealt with all the situations that come up with it. And I think it's taught us a lot of important things. But right now, what's going on in our world right now has also, I think, taught us some important things about customer service.
Oh, very
when
much
you consider
so.
When you consider the fact that most of these essential workers that have stayed at work, these are people that are in the customer service industry.
Yeah.
Because they've had to be there to still keep open the places that are necessary for us to be able to go get our food, for us to go get our medical supplies that we need,
Right.
our toiletries if we can find them anywhere.
Yeah.
These people that have had to still, in many places, still work. Now, there's some places that have minimalized things, but even in the minimalization of things, some of these workers have had to shift the way that they handle everything to deal with the new kind of rules and strictures that are put in place for the way we're kind of operating the world. You have these people that worked at all of the various fast food chains that have had to completely override the way that they do things, working the register, working within the building itself, keeping things handled inside the restaurants for people to come and sit. It's now a shift in focus to working drive-through, and I mean, the amount of lines and amazingness the busyness of the drive-thrus now, and the speed at which they're trying to get things out to mitigate the volume is just in some ways amazing. I mean, there's nearby here there's a drive-through Panda Express, and no affiliation from us with Panda, although I do like their food. And it's a drive-through one, and the drive-through regularly right now has, at least the times that I've passed it by while I'm doing my, once or twice a week shopping.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, to get to that area, I'm only there once a week. It has at least 15 cars in the drive-through every time I pass it. Huge numbers of people that are having to do that are going to these drive-thrus for things with the shift over, so people can still get the food that they demand and want to have,
right,
within the rules that we have now, and the way that these unskilled workers, this batch of people that are, as we mentioned before, kind of looked down upon for the work that they do. Mm-hmm. They've been the thing that's been essential as their title of essential workers is, that has been keeping this, keeping us going during this time, keeping the doors open on places that need to be, and restructuring the way we do with other places as need to be to keep the businesses going and keep us able to get the things that we want to get or need to get.
Yeah.
And to me, that speaks to kind of the fact that this is not just as we view it, as I have viewed it, and as many times in the past, that this is not just a job for the common person. This is a job for necessary people. This is something that should be considered as noble as any other work that's being done, because without people working in those positions, we wouldn't have the ability to use those businesses, to have those things for ourselves,
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember there were times when I was working in customer service that and you'd have a bad customer, you'd have a customer that was angry or rude or whatever, and you kind of have a moment of like, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even have the opportunity to have any of this stuff. You wouldn't be able to do these things.
That's true. That's actually become, and it's become a fact at this point for a lot of these situations, and a lot of these people that have been looked down on, as far as their position or what have you. I agree entirely.
I do want to say I don't want to not give credit and give praise to the people that work in, for instance, the healthcare jobs that are essential workers doing their work. Those people deserve praise as well, but they deserve praise on a regular basis anyway. To be doctors and nurses and I mean, I could list off a bunch of different jobs that are set up within the medical field.
Yeah.
But all of those, it is great for those workers to keep doing it, and it's great for the availability of it, and they're putting themselves in situations that aren't necessarily the best situations to have to try to ensure public health and safety right now. But they do that. They also do that every single day. Yeah. And I often think they don't get enough respect for what they're doing every single day. It's only in moments of crisis that we try to give them more respect. And this, I think, goes to the point of where I was heading with all of this. Like you say, we're starting to see in the world that we need to be having more respect for these people. But for me, it's a thing of, well, it's about fucking time that people are realizing that we need to respect these people. And this is why, and this is again where I think I don't normally necessarily like to speak for you on things, but this is one that I think that you agree with me fully on, is that I remember being in customer service and thinking to the effect that we really deserve more respect than what we get from people. We get people in as customers that treat us as the workers like complete and utter garbage. They're rude to us. They're demanding. They're entitled.
Well, if I may interject here.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I have a very, very important story that has to do specifically with the subject matter of being talked down to and treated with disrespect as a retail worker.
Is this your personal story, or is this the story that happened last week?
This is a story that actually happened earlier. Was it last week or earlier this week? I believe it was a couple of days ago.
It may have been to your friend, right?
Yes. I have a personal friend of mine. So I have a personal friend of mine who works now, not to shift the focus here. One of the points that James wants to put out that I'm sure he wants to put out, I didn't necessarily ask him, but one of the points I'm sure that he wants to put out is that retail workers, especially essential retail workers, deserve your respect, 100%. Not just your respect, but just the attitude that has been brought forth against these people for such a long time I personally think is inexcusable. Now, whatever your opinion would be of the political climate and of the current situation socially that we are going through right now is irrelevant in this next point that I have to make. Now, my friend works at what would be considered a non-essential retailer, which is one of the ones that has been shut down for a while. Yeah. And this retailer is involved in the entertainment industry, let's say. And I'm not going to give any more direct details, but basically, they take orders. They take online orders at the moment. They do not allow people to walk into their establishment. And
so they do online orders and like curbside delivery.
Online orders and curbside delivery exclusively. They could probably call in orders over the phone. They can purchase stuff, but you don't even step inside right now. And this is a company that I will straight up say that this is a company that I will praise for the fact that they have taken this as seriously as they have.
That's good.
It makes me feel a lot better for those people that I know that are involved working in this company, because I have some other mutual friends that do. Now, that being said, this situation was encountered. This is close after this store is in one of the counties more recently that has started to open up, especially after such a hot social, political climate. Yeah. Some people are a little eager, and like I said, I won't get into that, but some people are a little eager to get the things that they've been wanting to get access to for quite some time. So this friend of mine, was working that store, and they were approached by someone who walked up to the front door. They answered the door, and this person wanted to head into the store to pick up an item real quick, and they were told that they can't do that. You have to do an online order. It has to be placed. There's going to be a wait time. And all of this, by the way, is plastered on documentation at the front of the location. So it's not like they can't, it's not like they won't see it. It's there. It's obvious.
You just have to be able to read.
Exactly. So they had the situation explained, and they had quite a problem with it. And basically things got heated and escalated. And long story short, this friend of mine was threatened with being shot over not opening the doors for somebody that wanted to get whatever minuscule item it was they were looking to get. And I call whatever the item would be at that point to be minuscule, because let's be real, this is technically a non-essential business. This is not a place where you have to have the thing.
It's not like somebody's asking for the insulin for their grandmother who's out of insulin and can die from this.
Exactly. This is not a medical emergency. This is not this is not this isn't even an essential retailer. So this is something that can, take the back burner. Okay. It can chill for a minute while the rest of us get these things that we need, as opposed to the things that we want.
So it can be viewed as the customer feeling entitled to be able to have whatever they want whenever they want, and the customer service person being they're lucky to go get that thing whenever they want it, regardless of decorum, rules, morality, whatever.
And that is the thing that I want to address. Specifically, there is very much this stigma to customer service sales jobs that I have been involved in, and many other people that I know that have been involved in, that carries this air of entitlement without respect to the customer base when it comes down to, and this breeds a lot of bad blood between people. This makes people that work social jobs hate social gatherings. It makes them hate people in general. That is not something that you can just disconnect from and not take with you. This is human interaction on multiple levels. This can affect you at home and psychologically.
It's actually the reason why I couldn't handle dealing. One of the two reasons I couldn't handle dealing with customer service anymore was because I admittedly had some amazing and wonderful customers that I dealt with during the time that I was working at both the places that I did most of my work at Blockbuster and at Home Depot. I mean, I had customers that were such close customers to me that right after I got married, we had the wedding, we had the reception. Before my wife and I went to the hotel that had been rented for us for the night by my parents, the hotel room, I was still in my tux, she was still in her wedding dress. We left the place where the wedding was happening. My groomsmen were supposed to be gathering all the stuff and cleaning up, and they didn't necessarily do all the job that they were supposed to. My best man did, so points for him. He took care of everything that he needed to, which is why him and I are still close, and I named a kid after him.
Nice.
He's the dude. You didn't have any responsibilities there except for the guest book, and you took care of that. So I don't know what you did afterwards. I don't know if you stayed around and helped clean up or not. I don't know. Did you?
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that I did. I'm not quite sure.
There were
between the happy moments and the awkward moments that happened with mutual friends of ours. I would I don't quite remember past the event itself, but the event itself, the reception was fantastic.
It was fun. But anyway, I had customers that were such good customers of mine that my wife and I left the reception, and we drove to Taco Bell and went through the drive-thru at Taco Bell because we had customers that I had customers at Blockbuster that worked at Taco Bell and worked the drive-thru. I had invited them to the wedding. They couldn't come to the wedding. They said they'd be working in the drive-thru that day. So we went through and ordered a soda just so that we could say hi to them, show them the rings, show them that we were married, and have a little moment with them.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Right afterwards. Your wife was one of my customers. Her family were customers of mine, regular customers of mine, before she started working at the Blockbuster.
Yep.
And it was a result of her being a customer, me knowing her family, that when she applied, actually I think when she asked about it, I may have been one of the people that told her to apply, but when she applied, I was there helping interview her and get her the job because I knew her from her family being there. Her family were great customers, and so was she. So it was, I knew a kid that was on his he was a kid at the time. He was on his grandmother's account for renting movies and stuff, and his grandmother had okayed him, even though he was underage. His grandmother had okayed him to rent any movies that he wanted, and he was just kind of new to learning about movies, and I gave him a full-on movie education. And this is a dude that has an IMDb page and has been in like 6 low-budget movies.
That's
fantastic. Out of the Bay Area.
That's amazing.
And I mean, the kid don't remember me probably at all, but I remember him. And I remember the fact that I mean, hopefully maybe I touched his life just a tiny little bit to get him to enjoy movies in the way that he seems to do and to be involved in that. Maybe I didn't do that, but at least I like to think I did. You know, it makes me feel good. Maybe complete and utter bullshit, but I'll hold on to that until he tells me otherwise.
Yeah.
But
By the way, I wanted to
Yeah.
touch up on that because I did learn some things after all of this. I wanted to let you know because I was very proud of my friend. After this person threatened them, they immediately called the cops. You know,
Good. That's
and
what
things
you should do
were
when you
that's
receive a
exactly what
threat.
you should do. And that's when said person decided to curse them out and get in their car and drive off. And while that was happening, they told them to kindly fuck off.
Okay.
Those exact words while working on the clock as a retailer. That is one of the things you wish you could tell somebody.
Yeah.
That is magic. That is magic
Would
to
be
me.
nice.
Yes. And they got a response from district who said that they would have said the same thing.
Well, that's even better when district is going to get your back.
Corporate level stamp of approval, man, for that kind of an extreme situation. That's some thumbs up from me, my friend.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've had those great customers. I've had customers that I've been able to develop, decent relationships with. When I worked at Home Depot, I had a few guys that would, we didn't hang out or do anything afterwards, but there were a few guys that would come back to me for whatever they needed, no matter where it was in the store.
Mm-hmm.
They would always come to find me because we had developed a good relationship, talking back and forth about stuff.
Yeah.
It had, been something good. At the same time, I've had some amazingly awful interactions. When I worked at Blockbuster, I had everything imaginable thrown at me at one point or another. VHS tapes in the hard shell cases thrown at me.
Oh yeah.
Blockbuster cards, money, credit cards, box of candy at one point.
Yep.
I've had people yelling at me. I had two big, huge guys, and again, at the time, I was maybe 180 pounds at the time that I worked there. I had two, and I'm 5'6". I'm a short guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I had two 6 foot tall, burly guys yelling and screaming at each other in the Blockbuster one night. I don't know if you were there that night or not. They were screaming at each other, trying to start a fight, and I ended up having to get in between the two of them and tell them, look, you're all going to get in a fight. Do it right out there so security can take care of you, and you're not my problem. Please get out of my store to do it. And keep in mind, I'm also 19. So,
dude,
I'm this little kid telling these two guys to get the heck out of my store so they want to fight. I don't care if they're going to fight. Just don't do it in my store around all the families and kids. Just go outside and do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had some awful experiences. I had a lady screaming at me when I worked at Home Depot. I was in their installs department. So that put me at a desk coordinating installs for things to happen. I'd talk to the installer, I'd talk to the customer, I'd coordinate for the days for those things to happen. There was a problem, I would have to go and inspect the problems, take care of that stuff, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Make sure the product that was supposed to be installed came in on time and got to the right place and was done right. Fun job, actually. One of the funnest jobs I had working at Home Depot. It was great. But I had a lady one time that I tried to talk to. She wasn't wanting to listen to me, and I had one of the bad instances where a manager told me, no, you're only going to give them this. And I told her, this is what we can do for you. She screamed for the manager. The manager then came and gave her exactly what she wanted instead of setting at the same limit that he wanted to.
Right.
At which point I had a discussion with that manager afterwards. I'll talk about that in a minute. But her screaming was over and over, he's a liar. He's a liar. He's a liar. He's a liar, in reference to me.
Wow.
What I told her we would do for her. Just screaming this as loud as possible, to the point that the lady sitting next to me, who was our merchandising coordinator, she actually took one of those P-Touch machines, the labeling machines,
mm-hmm.
and created a label that said James is a liar. And stuck it to. I always kept at my desk a tin of Altoids. Always there. It was just my, popping Altoid, whatever. I always had the tin of Altoids, and she stuck it on my tin of Altoids. And I actually still have that tin of Altoids to this day.
That's amazing.
As a reminder of this customer just screaming about me being a liar.
Does that go in the man cave room? That sounds like a man cave room item.
No, that's actually here in my bedroom. I have it in like where all of my like collectible stuff is, all the
cool.
stuff that I've had over years, old licenses, that kind of crap.
Nice.
I have it there. It's again, it's one of my reminder things of like, this is what customer service does sometimes. Sometimes this is the issues that you have. And this is kind of the thing that I want to touch on is like you said, there's this entitlement that's going on with people when they become customers. I firmly believe that when people walk into establishments as a customer, they lose between 10 and 40 IQ points automatically. And this is part of this is because we've structured people to think that when you are a customer somewhere, you should be waited on, basically. You should be doted upon. This goes to people's kind of desire to want to be special, to be somebody that's paid attention to be somebody that is treated differently or better. Okay? And I think that when that happens, you suddenly are not as smart as you once were. You lose some of your common sense and you lose some of your decency as a result of this, because you expect that doting upon you. You expect, well, I'm here, and me being here, my presence here is what keeps this place open because I'm spending money here. Therefore, they're here to serve me. And this causes, I think, this loss of intelligence. Now, if you're an intelligent person to begin with, losing 10 points of IQ is not that big a deal.
Right.
If you're not an intelligent person to begin with and you lose that 40 points of IQ, dear God, you're stupid.
Dude, the worst insult that I personally get every time, that just bugs me to no end every single time, is when I hear a customer say, do you know how much money I spent here? Or I spent X amount of money. I spent thousands here. You're going to do this for me.
Because basically that's what saying is.
Yeah.
What they're saying is, you're a slave and I've paid for you.
Yeah, I own you. The money I put into this place allows me I own you right now. That's what that says.
Flat out, it's flat out denigrating you. It's flat out saying,
absolutely,
this is the price that you're worth.
Yeah, that is absolute, total, complete insult. And
for me to no longer treat you like a human.
Yep, that is licensed. They personally feel that is licensed to treat you as they see fit to get the thing that they want, and they don't give a flying rat's ass about you and what you think about them because they have the money to buy the thing. Like, it's the
entitlement.
That is
it's this entitlement mentality.
That's the worst level of entitlement. There was a guy who, there was another, I was working in a store and there was another guy who, we had just closed up shop, and there was a guy who kept asking a dude to do one or two other things. This was a music store. Another guy that I knew, he had only been working there for a week and a half. Another guy I knew there, he had just gotten off of work and he was waiting for his ride. And the guy didn't have his name tag on, but, the general work uniform is you come dressed for work, so he looks like he works there at the moment.
Yeah.
But he had his jacket
same color shirt, logo or whatever.
Collared shirt, but he has his jacket on. Pants. Like, he looked like he was ready to leave, but he definitely looked like he worked there. And so this guy goes, hey, can you get this thing for me or whatever? And he's like, I'm sorry, man, I can't do that. I'm off. And he's like, oh, you're off? You're off, huh? You want to take this outside? So immediately the guy picks a fight with him. Immediately, just because he's off work. And he happens to be standing in the building that he works in. Just absolute horseshit.
Yeah,
but that amount of denigrating entitlement is just disgusting. That is the worst. That's the worst part of it.
And this happens not just in retail establishments, but let me make this clear. This is even sometimes so much worse in restaurant establishments where people are serving your food or making your food, and because the thought frame is, well, because I pay for it, that person's basically my servant, and they're treated as such.
Yes, now
they're treated as, you're just my servant. You're just there to serve at my pleasure.
I will say this. I have seen an evolution in the way that most people act in retail establishments, especially as of late. Okay.
Well, and I think a part of that has to do with, again, the things that are happening in the U.S. right now, and the way that we've had to have an eye-opening experience about who really is essential and who really keeps this country moving along. on a day-to-day basis. I think that that's a part of it. I would argue that maybe another part of it is we are seeing maybe more of the people that have worked customer service be customers.
And that's the next point that that was the next thing that I was getting at is I'm seeing a shift in there is just because customer service was, and that's the thing, me and you, we've been, the Xennials in general were one of the first customer service, like a lot of people in the Xennial generation and a lot of millennials for a long time have worked customer service based jobs for their entire lives without much of an opportunity to move upward. There are some people that do it, yes.
And again, with the idea that this is a low basic job, because there was a time frame where a basic customer service job was enough to buy a house and to take care of a family. There was a time when that existed, but now it's what you do when you can't get any other job, and because that mind frame is there, because that stigma regarding it is there. It makes it so that the people working it have that stigma in their head. The people that deal with it have that stigma. They're looked down upon. They're thought of as lesser than.
It has been that in what I want to make sure that is well known that I am seeing an increase in is people that understand the challenges, the emotional challenges and the psychological challenges that come with working in retail.
Yeah.
And they have applied that to their consideration. Right?
Which is where my plea comes in.
Okay. Take it.
My plea being, people listening to this, if you've not worked in customer service, or even if you have, and you have found yourself at different points in time when you are the customer and you are acting in that entitled way. You are thinking that this is a person that's, working for me basically while I'm in here spending money. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have this. And you've ever found yourself mistreating a customer service person because of your own issues? My plea to you is be nicer to these customer service people, because just like you, they're people just trying to make it through their day. And what I have learned is the nicer that I am, from my years of experience, when I go in to be a customer anywhere, I look at the people and I see that they aren't any different from me. I've had jobs exactly like that. I've dealt with those exact situations. And it's interesting sometimes because I'll interact with somebody asking them for something. Something's out. Hey, do you guys have any of, if you have any of these things? And at first they get a look over their face of, oh my God, I got a customer asking me about crap. Oh, where's this going to be? And I understand that. It's hard for them not to have that face because they deal with so many people that will ask them where something is.
Absolutely.
And if they have to answer the person, no, we don't have it, they don't know what they're going to get. They don't know if they're going to get the eruption. They don't know if they're going to get the yelling, the screaming, the name calling. They don't know. And so when I approach a customer service person about it, I understand that they may have almost a minor form of PTSD with dealing with customers asking them things like that. And so I can see the look kind of in their eyes of, oh no, I hope we have this. I don't want to have to tell a person we don't have it. And it'll come up, oh yeah, it looks like we don't have any of these right now. And then I'll very calmly, okay, do you happen to know when an order might be coming in, or any idea on that? And they'll still have that look of like, okay, he's pulling me in further. Is this going to be bad or not? And I try to make sure I keep a good distance between me and the person. Yeah. I don't try to invade their space.
That's so important.
I try to keep my voice calm and level to make it as not the aggressor in the situation and not being aggressive towards them. Because you've had that person move up into your face, move up into your space, try to have that level of aggression. Like for some reason, they think that being more aggressive is going to get them the thing that they want, because you're purposely keeping them from the thing that they want, even though you may have absolutely no control over it. In fact, most times you do have absolutely no control over what's in there and not. And those sometimes I get the response back, well, no, it doesn't tell me in here when we're going to get some kind of a shipment for it. I don't really know. And then I will ask them the question that the light bulb goes on in their head. Now, this is one that, again, is from my years of experience of doing customer service, especially the fact that I've been able to work in many different levels of the customer service, so I know some of the insider things about certain things.
Yeah, that helps.
I'll ask a question of, is this something that you guys are able to order, or is it something that's just sent by, company order or, batch order or something like that? And I don't use those exact same words each time. I kind of change it up depending on which location I'm in. And you almost see in their eyes the light bulb go off of like, okay, this guy kind of knows something. He understands that sometimes the orders we can't control. Yeah. Sometimes we just get what we get, and you'll get the answer of, no, yeah, you sometimes get the answer of, no, we can order it. It looks like it just hasn't been ordered properly. I can put in an order, but I don't know when it's going to get here for sure. And then so you'll also sometimes get the answer of, no, yeah, we don't control the orders. They come in, they just send us the stuff when the computer says that we're out. They generate the things and they send us the stuff when they send us the stuff. And then here comes the kicker. The final thing I do is, okay, well, thanks. That gives me the information I need to know, so I have the appropriate expectations for things. And the look of relief that comes on their faces, because instead of treating them like, yo, slave, is this thing here? Where's my stuff, slave? Go order my stuff, slave. I know you're hiding some of it in the back. I know you got it hidden
well, can you check in the back?
There. And I have asked that before. I've asked that before, but the way I have a specific way of asking it. I ask, okay, on this item, do you guys keep overstock in the back at all, or is it what's on the shelf is what's on the shelf? I specifically ask it in that way, not to be demanding of, I know you have it in the back. It's, hey, I don't know your store well enough to know. I don't know your inventory well enough to know if you guys do keep overstock of this thing in the back. Some items you may be able to keep. Some items you may not have overstock in the back. Is this one you have overstock? Or is this one you don't? And I praise it in that way of like, hey, I don't know. Let me know what it is. And then again afterwards, I make sure, okay, you've told me what I need to know. I can set my expectations as they need to be and go on from there. A perfect example of this is the grocery outlet thing that I know I've told you about. And I think I mentioned it here on the podcast before. But grocery outlet is a store I love going to because you can find a lot of really good deals there, a lot of really good food at really good prices. Mm-hmm. And they have a few things that are items that only they carry that honestly are awesome. Their frozen food section always has some really cool little stuff in it. Plus you get Pop-Tarts for cheap there.
Ooh.
It's like 50 cents less a box for Pop-Tarts, which
okay, that adds up.
Is a big deal, but
yeah. No, that adds up.
Dude, sometimes they have boxes of cereal, like regular sized boxes of cereal for like $1 a piece. Awesome stuff.
Oh man.
But anyway, actually, just recently at the one local to us, we found a really good kettle potato chip. Just a sea salt kettle potato chip, but like they're not as hard and crunchy as most kettle chips.
Mm-hmm.
They literally taste like homemade potato chips.
Ooh.
Like you totally taste the potato, and it's not just salty salt. It's like total potato. We bought as many bags as we could, and I'm slowly going through them because they're just awesome. But anyway, even before this crisis, one of my children they have a very kind of limited diet in the things that they like to eat. And specifically, there is a brand of chicken nuggets that only grocery outlet carries. There was a while, I'd say about 10 years ago, where, and yes, he still eats them to this day. He's been eating them for the majority of his life. They're his favorite food. And he will not eat any other chicken nugget of any other brand. This boy won't even eat McDonald's chicken nuggets, and everybody likes McDonald's, right? But he won't even eat those damn things. Just this one brand of chicken nuggets is what he likes to eat. And it was a while ago that grocery outlet our local grocery outlet was going to stop carrying them. Now, luckily, our grocery outlet is a franchise, so the owners own it and operate it, and you do get to see them in the store at various points in time. So we actually went to the owners and we asked them if they were going to be able to keep them in, if they were just going to be gone with them. So the sales were good, but they still weren't sure if they were going to keep them. And we said if there was any way they could, we would really appreciate it because this is something that he eats and it's like an essential to him. And
nice.
So luckily they ended up being able to keep it. Well, there have been times when they've run out of it. When I go there to pick up his supply, they've run out.
Oh, okay.
And I'm pretty well known at that store because every time I go in there, I buy 4 to 6 bags of these chicken nuggets. So if I go there and I don't buy chicken nuggets, the cashiers are like, "Are you okay? Did we not have your chicken nuggets? Do you need some?" I mean, I'm that popular there.
That's good. But see, here's the thing: is they talk to you and they see you in a more positive light. You're not one of those. You're not one of the people they dread coming in there. That's important, man.
No, because when it does run out, I'll ask one of the people, hey, that's stocking frozen food. Hey, you work in frozen food, right? Yeah. Do you know if you guys have any of the chicken nibblers? Because that's the name of them, chicken nibblers. Do you have any of these? Or do you know when you might be getting the next order in? Do you have any idea? And they'll be like, we'll check, see whether we do or not. And the answer is usually no, we don't have any right now. We think we might be getting a truck in on this day. Also might be getting a truck in on that day, but we're not sure when they'll come in. I'm like, okay, cool. So it would be good to check back on which day. Which would be the better day to check? Oh, this day will be good. Okay, and that's what I know to do. I'll check back on that day and see if you guys have got them in. And I keep the conversation in such a way that, like, let me know what my expectations are. I'll understand that these are my expectations, and then if I come back in and they still don't have them, okay, do you guys have any information on when they might be coming? I still keep it in such a way of, like, I'm not demanding, well, you said they'd be in on this day. Where the hell are they? It's okay. You know what? I understand how these things happen. Supply chains sometimes don't work out the way that you want them to. And the whole point is, in the entirety of the interaction with them, I treat the people the people working there with decency, as a decent human being. That they may even get information wrong because they're humans and people get information wrong.
Right.
And I don't treat them like garbage because of my need to have everything work out exactly perfectly for me. I understand that sometimes things don't work out. Sometimes places run out of things. Sometimes people are just having bad days, and you need to be understanding of other people. Just because you walk in and you're the customer doesn't mean that you're better than everybody else in that building. You're just as human as the other person.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing I'm trying to implore is, don't threaten customer service peoples with violence. Don't treat them like garbage. Don't yell and scream at them. Half the time it's not even their fault of anything. That's actually more than half the time. Majority of the time it's not their fault if your thing is out, or if there's new rules for the business.
Yeah,
exactly. If they require that you do certain things. I mean, we have all these new rules in place. It's not the individual employee's fault. That and I wouldn't say fault, but it's not like the individual employee said, I'm sorry, but to come into this establishment now we require you to wear a mask. This is what the companies and the government in different areas are requesting happen. So there's no need to get mad at the employees for what the companies want to have done. This is something that they're just told to enforce. They're not making this rule for you. And by the way, they also didn't make the rules that you have to wear a shirt and shoes in places, but they enforce those ones too.
Yep.
That's the thing is, the regular customer service employees in stores, in restaurants, in all of these places where they're trying to help you get the things that you need, keep the shelves stocked, and get you on your way as quickly as possible. Give them a little bit of respect. Give them a little bit of understanding, and know that, again, during this time, they've been out there working and doing all of this. Same pay, by the way.
Yep.
Most places, I haven't been paying them anything more to be out there going and doing this. And they've had to put up with all the craziness. You go to the store and you have to deal with the craziness of all the people flooding in and people demanding of things. And then you get to go home after your grocery shopping or your whatever shopping you're doing, whatever you're out there doing, you get to go home. They got to be there for as many hours as they're on the clock to be there, and they still got to deal with it every single moment of it. And that's why I implore you, understand that your customer service people are there to help, but they're not there to be your slaves. And the more that you can treat them like humans, the more that they will try to be as helpful to you as possible. And realize sometimes they cannot give you everything that you want, but that's not their fault, and they don't deserve to be treated badly because they can't do that for you. Know what I mean?
Yeah,
makes
absolutely.
sense?
That's 100%, man.
And by the way, during this whole crisis thing, when I went to Grocery Outlet to try to stock up on the chicken for my kid, so that we had enough during all this, not knowing when this all first started, and not knowing how often we'd be able to go out shopping, what places would or wouldn't close, they were out of the chicken.
Oh no!
And so I went around doing the rest of the shopping. Everybody was so busy. I really didn't get a chance to talk to anybody about when the chicken might come in because there were too many people too busy taking care of all these problems. And walking down the aisle, one of the other aisles at one point was one of the owners. And she looked at me and she kind of looked at my basket. She goes, "Are you finding everything okay?" And I'm like, no, you guys didn't have the chicken nibblers. And, I understand with everything going on. I made sure to preface that, I understand with everything going on that there was a possibility. That's why I was here to try to get as many as possible to try to tide us over into whatever was going to happen. I understand that, things aren't going to be easy during all this craziness. And she's like, yeah, I remember you. Your chicken nuggets for your kid. That's the only thing he eats. I'm like, yep. She remembered me after years and years. I mean, it's just, again, 10 years ago, we talked to them. She's been in the store and seen me shopping, but she remembered that specifically.
Yeah.
She's like, let me take your name and your number. And when we get these things in, I'll call you and make sure that you're able to come get some. And we'll put some bags aside. How many bags do you need us to put aside? I'm like, 5 or 6 would be great. If you can put more back, I don't want to be too greedy and take too many from other people. Because and admittedly, I said that because that's who I am. I'm really not a greedy person.
Right.
You can attest to that, hopefully.
No, yeah, absolutely. No, I'm right there with you. This is totally within James's character.
But I'm like, yeah, if you can give me a call. Now, admittedly, I will say they did not actually call me on time. I didn't get a call until like 2 weeks ago, when it's a husband and wife team that own the grocery outlet.
Gotcha.
Actually, I think the wife owns it and the husband works there with her. I think that's exactly how it works out. But anyway, he called me. The husband called me. He's like, "Hey, I have your number here about the chicken nibblers. Did you ever come in and get some?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I came in a week after I gave you guys the name and number for it, and you guys had them. I came in and checked, and you guys got them back." Say, "Okay, I'm sorry we didn't get the call back to you, but we have some now too." I'm like, "That's cool. I'm going to be in a couple of days to get more, but thank you for calling." So they did eventually call. The call did come late.
Yeah,
but just the simple fact that
it's a little chaotic. But here's the deal. Yeah, it's.
And I understand with everything that was going on, a call coming late like that, because that's been one store that has updated regularly on Facebook when they're getting things in and making sure people know when they had milk in, when they had eggs in, when they had whatever they had as it was coming in, they would let people know. They'd let people know what was out. It was a daily thing they were updating for a while on what was coming in during especially during the week or two where everything was fully locked down.
That's amazing,
man. They were making sure. I mean, I can tell you right now, I will be a customer at that grocery outlet for as long as I live in this area, just because of the way that they were treating their customers during the time period.
Yeah.
But that goes to show, like you were saying about it, if you can treat the customer service people that you work with kindness and dignity and like humans, they will do what they can for you. In fact, most of them will probably try to do more for you than they maybe should do, specifically because you're a pleasure to work with. You're a pleasure to do things with.
Absolutely.
It's like in any situation, if somebody is kind to you, you are more inclined to want to be kind to them. And take the tenet that is kind of, I guess, kind of works through almost every religious faith, every belief system. The golden rule of doing to others as you would have done to you.
Yeah.
Be kind to them, and they will be much more inclined to be kind to you. Let them understand. I every time I tell somebody when they've told me, oh, this is when you should expect this. This is when this should happen. I had a situation with a rental company, an appliance rental company, one of those places that you pay your rental fee, like a Rent-A-Center or Aaron's type place. You pay your fee and you get to keep the appliance for as long as you pay the rental on it, and then you own it after that, unless you want to pay out early. I was in talks with one about an appliance, and they were, okay, listen, so this appliance has to be ordered from such and such place. It takes somewhere between like 14 and 21 days until we get this appliance, and then we contact you for the delivery. And my thing's always been, okay, or my thing was with that, and it's always this way whenever somebody gives me day times like that. I'm like, okay, so tell me which day I should call you back if I haven't heard from you. Let me know when I should give a call to say, hey, what's going on? I'm just checking on this. so that I'm not
Yeah.
annoying you. I'm not overly calling you and asking you too many questions or being a pain about it. But I'm also not just completely letting it go and worrying and freaking out on my own thing. When should I call to see what's going on? And that
That's
you can
cool.
even over the phone, you can hear the relief of like, oh, okay, yeah, go ahead and call me on this day. If I should have some information on this day. If you haven't heard anything from me by then, go ahead and give me a call then. And the beauty of that is, again, I'm treating them like a human. I'm saying, okay, give me an expectation. You set me an expectation, and that's then what I'll be looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And I have and this goes into any kind of customer service thing. I have a mechanic that I specifically go to that does fantastic work for me, and the reason that happens is I have a really good relationship with the guy. He does what he needs to do. He never overcharges me. He never tries to do more work. He takes care of everything that he needs to perfectly, and he has all of my faith as a result. And it's a good relationship because I don't treat him like he's trying to dupe me or he's trying to he's trying to do this or that. I don't treat him like garbage, like he's my slave. Go get the work done because I'm paying you. It's literally he's a human doing something. I'm a human needing something.
Yep.
And that's just it. People, treat your customer service people like real humans. Treat them nicely and they will do good for you. Again, I reiterate, do not threaten them with physical violence with weapons. It is not nice to do.
Not
Do
the
not
way to
bring
go.
weapons.
Not decent.
No, and I mean similar stories to your story. There was a place on the East Coast. I forget which state it was in. It was an ice cream shop. The guy opened up his ice cream shop, and the owner opened up. It was a privately owned ice cream shop. Guy opened up his ice cream shop for the day, and the customers that showed up, the demands that the customers had, the rudeness of the customers. One customer screaming and yelling at one of his teenage workers, his best worker. Teenage worker yelling and screaming at the girl, and the worker quit on the spot because she couldn't handle the way she was being treated.
Oh, I heard about that.
Rude, entitled, awful human being of a customer.
I heard about that. That's terrible. That's terrible. And you gotta.
It is.
I mean, yeah. You pretty much said it all, man. Like, this is the times are trying. They're weird. Things are super tense right now, and people are acting in some ways. At some times, extremely inappropriate due to a lot of these high tensions.
But even when these times are past, please, people, think about the fact that, again, these are humans too. These are people too. They deserve to be treated correctly. They don't deserve to be treated like a second-class citizen.
Yeah.
Because they're not. They are keeping us going every day, even when we are not in a pandemic crisis. They are keeping this world going every single day. They are the reason that you can go and get your Starbucks before going to work so that you can survive.
Yeah.
Doing your work. They are the reason why you can get into your grocery stores and get the food that you want and get home and attempt to make dinner for your family and screw it up because you didn't remember that your kids don't eat that stuff. I mean. And the thing is, they have bad days just like you have bad days. Be understanding. Don't be rude. Don't be entitled. Realize they have as much right to be here as you do and as much right to be treated well as you do. And maybe that'll make the world a little bit nicer place. Maybe. I hope so. I know it's worked for me. It's made my experience as a customer. I typically have amazing customer service experiences because I treat the customer service people good. They treat me good in response.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Sorry, I had a little tickle in my throat there.
Oh, you're good.
I don't know if I was getting emotional or not. Maybe I might cry. Who knows? Anyway, so Mike, you agree with me in all this imploring?
Oh, 100%.
You agree with me that the people listening need to be nicer to customer service people?
Yeah.
So hopefully that's the message you can take away from this today. I will admit when I was getting prepped today to do this podcast, I did not have an idea of what we were going to talk about. And then the idea kind of struck me. This is something with Mike's experience with his friend over this last week or so, whenever exactly that happened, and with what I've been seeing in the news recently. And then again, just something that this has always been one of those discussions, one of those, I don't know, adult talking to a slightly older adult talking to a younger adult. I guess this is poignant too, since this is the time that kind of graduations are starting to happen.
Oh man, yeah.
And this would be something that I would be telling.
Mind blow.
that this would be something that I would be telling a young kid graduating and trying to go into the workforce and go into the job. Treat people with kindness. The more kindness you can treat people with, I mean, I will admit, there are times it does not pay off in the short run, but in the long run, I think you'll live a happier life. I think you'll be able to enjoy life more, and people will think better of you.
Absolutely.
And you don't realize sometimes how great an asset that can be for people to think better of you, for people to be able to look at you and think this is a nice person. I mean, I know we're going a little long here, but I would say
not a problem.
I would say that, like, it even translates to, if I see a person be rude to a customer service person, like I've been to restaurants with people where I've watched a person be absolutely and utterly rude to a server for no reason whatsoever, just basically because they feel entitled to be rude to a server. I won't go to a restaurant with that person again.
Oh yeah,
I won't go anywhere near it.
I've dealt with that before. I've done the same thing.
And I've had servers spill entire glasses of drink on me while they were trying to flirt with somebody at the table and not paying attention. And she still got a tip, by the way, because I'm still a believer in tipping, because it was an accident, and I understand that it was an accident. But she spilled a whole damn drink on me. And so it was like, I mean, things happen. People make mistakes. Be understanding. Don't be rude. Love all around. And no, I'm not drunk tonight. Woo! All right, Mike, let's do our ending. Where can people be listening to us?
Well, you could catch us at the XennialChronicles.com. You could also go to zencron.com, spelled XenChron. We're on Spotify. We're on TuneIn. We're on Apple. We're on Google. We're on all the stuff. We are also on YouTube. If you search for the Xennial Chronicles on YouTube, you will find our YouTube page. It has all of our podcasts archived on the YouTube page. You can listen to us for hours and hours on end. And I believe that is it.
And
wait.
Just what? Whoa.
Facebook, man. We're on Facebook and we're on Twitter.
Facebook and Twitter, yes.
Yep.
We are there. And we respond to any comments that are put, as long as you're not a bot trying to make comments. I do not respond to bots.
Tom.
I will not let the bot revolution take place. If I see some
Get your Skynet ass out of here,
motherfucker coming to me, yeah, not happening. Not happening. Ain't no robot's going to be turning me into a battery no matter which pill I take.
Nope.
Another reference.
Nice.
Isn't that good? Anyway,
yeah, I liked it.
Thank you all for listening, and we'll be back next week.
Y'all have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in, friends. The journey continues next week.